In this video, we are going to attempt to fit this lovely Android navigation / infotainment system in our Freelander 2. Now, how does it work? Well, basically, you take out your old screen, and we've done the video for taking out the screen. Where's the one pointing, George? There. And this is going to replace the navigation screen. It's still going to retain the CD player. If you've got the multi-disc CD player, the radio, it's going to retain all of that. Although you can, obviously, and you can use an Android-based navigation system like Waze or Google Maps. You can use all that on here. So your navigation system that's under your seat is redundant. You could sell it, whatever. So at least with this, you can update the latest maps, and it's a way of getting... And also then you can do Android Play, but I haven't worked that out yet. This is just the first step of us fitting this. Now, how does it work? Right, basically the key to the wiring is this complicated cable. Now, it's got way more cables than it needs. But you'll notice this, there's a male and a female. These could plug into each other if they were long enough. And what that does is that jams into the original loom going onto the CD player, and then parasitically it injects into this loom. When you select auxiliary, it takes the music from here, wherever it comes to it, mute via Bluetooth or whatever, and fires it in to the original car audio system. So it's using your original amplifier, your original speakers, loads of the original stuff. Right, that all plugs in. What other goodies has it got? It does have the ability on here to add some other stuff, like... It's got, I think you can add a reversing camera and other stuff. So if you wanted to put a reversing camera, you've got some auxiliary in here. It's got reversing wires. But I've done a diagram. And in fact, now let's jump to my diagram on the computer. So by the wizardry of computer editing, I'm going to be sat on my computer now. So, right. So hopefully that's cleared it up a bit. This is specifically made for the Freelander 2. This bit goes where your little rubber mat used to go, and that sits in, and that gives you some extra. Gives you some, what do they call them, hard buttons, I think, because we have soft buttons which are on the screen, don't they, and hard buttons. George is nodding, yeah. Right, so I got George with me, so he's going to help me because he's good with technology. So we are going to grab this. Now, actually, let's have a look at some of the other bits. This bit you need... because the old navigation screen was part of the MOST bus, which is an optical fiber circuit. And if you take something out, it breaks the loop. So this bit just bypasses and lets everything else on the loop do it. So that's a fiber optic jumper. Good, we need that. Right. This is a little speaker. And I think this just gives you some of the basic Android instructions when Androids. Obviously, none of the music is going to come out of that fairly compact speaker, so that's good. Right, we've got this bit here which I don't know, but it says CarPlay, which I think is for a CarPlay dongle. I think they've missed the Y out of CarPlay, and that we might plug in, but I'm not going to worry too much about the auxiliary bits yet. I'm just going to show them to you. Right, this bit here reckons it's a 3G Wi-Fi, so I think here you can buy a USB Wi-Fi dongle so you can get your SIM card, and that will give you your... George's, what do you think? And George is saying maybe, maybe not. We haven't worked that out yet. Right, this GPS antenna, it needs a GPS antenna, so it needs to know where you are. It doesn't use the car one, because I think the car one goes under the seat. So if it did use the car one, you'd have to run a cable. So it's easier just to whack one of these up in the windscreen. So again, we're not going to worry too much about that at the minute. But we'll need to route that up the A-pillar and everything. And then we've got another one in here for a microphone, so we can add a microphone for a car speaker. Now, I don't know whether the microphone came with it or I've lost it, but we'll double check, and we may even put these on the website, but I'm sure there's loads of them around. Right, let's jump in the car. Right, so your car will look like this if it's been stolen and you've just recovered it, or if you've watched my earlier video and you've taken all the system out. So there's my old, what's that? It's my old screen, isn't it, George? Alas, poor screen. Yeah, he's no longer needed. He is redundant. But we do need to retain the main CD radio unit. So you'll notice that normally that red connector there, you got that one, George, would plug into here. But this is where this tricky loom goes in, right? This is where we need to get this tricky loom here. Oh, he's got tangled already. Right, so this bad boy here, now all these bits need to be at the top, but these two bits are they're gonna plug into there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run it underneath, because they're the only two bits that need to be under there. So hopefully that'll. And then what I'm gonna do is one end is gonna plug into the car loom connector there. And again, you've seen this on my computer diagram, which I'll, right, don't forget those, Right, and now we're ready to plug the CD player back in. So let's plug the grey one in. Right. Oh, hold on. Doesn't fit quite as well as the factory one, it would appear. I think that's in. Right, that side went in alright. Right, so that should now be connected to that. A bit dubious. No, that seems to have it. Right then, where's that fibre optic one? Okay, that's fibre optic. How many have I got? Two fibre optic ones down here. Ah, because that's my... Right, let's put that one on. Is that the one from the original car loom? Yep. Wrong way around. Alright, and then let's put this green connector, which was that one's probably on the. Right, 1, 2. I think that's all right. Let's put. I've got it upside down. Right, I'm going to need the other bits. Was the aerial on the back of this one? Yes, the aerial's on the back. I just thought there was 3. Sorry everybody, I'm getting myself confused. Get the aerial on. Alright, that's clipped on, right. Right, yeah, make sure I plugged the wrong fibre optic one in there. You want your longer fibre optic and the green one to come out underneath this unit. So I'm going to put that unit back. And you should slide back. Mind I don't trap these wires here. Look. Right, and he should nestle back. I might need to jiggle that grey. That's it. Make sure he's right back against the... Quite going back on these pins. These little pins here. Let me have a wriggle with that. Yeah, so make sure you get your pins coming out. We have to just pull up on the connector there. I think that big grey connector was stuck. Right, let's put all that out of the way. Pull that out. So we just got these two, and then at least we can get this back in and get all that bolted back in. So the green one goes in, click, fibre optic one goes in, click, right, and then we can get that in, feed those in carefully. Right, now that's us done under there, so I reckon screw that back in. And that was those 4 medium. You'll have a whole bunch of screws, some short, some long, some medium. We've got to get the 4 medium screws. Right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the bypass on. If we don't put this on, the whole most bus, we're not going to have anything working. And you see that just takes the loop round and continues that. So that's all good. We're good with that. That grey connector at the back is all fine. That's my one from down there. So that's good, that's good. Now these ones here are no longer needed. That's part of the old system, which is now defunct. Right, that one's for the hazard panel. So we'll need that later. So what we really need is all these new ones here. Now, I haven't got all the ancillaries in yet. What I've got is I've got this yellow connector in here. Okay, right then. And we've got this other connector there, sort of a grey connector in there. So you see there's a whole block where you can have lots of connectors here. And we've got one more we've got to put in there. So, right, where to start? Actually, I'm going to put this one here in. Let me just grab that. Right, so yeah, it's this black plug here. Needs to go on there. So that's going that way up. So I can start to get that one on. Right, that goes in. Sorry, yeah, you come from the front, George. I think you better see it better. You got enough light there? Okay, so that one's in there. Right, now we've got some others that we need to put in there. So we've got 3. So I'm going to get the GPS aerial. Let's get that in next. Right, so I'm not going to do a whole video on routing the GPS for now. I'm just going to leave it lying out. And when we work that out, we'll post a little video and put the little pointy thing, George. And when we've done it, we'll put the little link there and you can click on that. Otherwise, this video will get too long and complex. But basically, that's got to be routed up either to the front dash here or up here. I think it's probably better on the front, to be honest. It needs to be pointing to the sky. Right, so there we go. That's that. So we've got, that's the Wi-Fi aerial there. So we've got the GPS. Right, what other ones do we need to get in this block at the back? Let's go and have a look. Let's get the CarPlay one and the other one we need. Right, next one is the microphone lead. I'm going to put that in, so I don't know. Right, and that should go in there. Yeah, that's clipped, okay. Right, what else we got here? I bought them all here. They're all nicely colour-coded. What's that? That's the CarPlay one, right? So that one's got... He's a small connection there. He's only 4 pins. So he's got to be that one in the bottom there. Behind the GPS aerial. Right, and what's that one there? That is the 3G dongle Wi-Fi. Yep, and he's a 6. So far it's pretty foolproof. We haven't been able to get in there. Well, and my GPS antenna.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. So that's that in, right? Now this one here, the speaker, there's actually a long wire coming out of that loom I fitted earlier, if I recall correctly. There's a long wire on the back of it with a red and black connector on the end of it. Okay, and that, I believe, it's not labelled, but I believe that is the speaker there. You get that the right way round, and that links in there. Right, so I think that is the majority of our connections done. So I think we're... Right, remember we've got to put the hazard connector back on. Right, and then we've got... Actually, let's link up the audio now. So that's everything plugged in. Right, now these should match. Right, we need AUX L for auxiliary left. And then on this loom, we should find a wire with auxiliary left. Plug those two together. And then we've got auxiliary right. Goes to auxiliary right. Right, okay, right, that's good. Right. And then the other two we've got here is looking for front out L and front out R. And we should have on here, in this bundle, right, front out L. Can you see that, George? Well, it's probably in the way. There you go. Front out L. And let's have a look. Front out R. Right. So that should be most of the connections I'm going to make made. Now it's all looking a complete mess, but I think everyone's keeping up with what we're trying to do here. Right, and then what we've got to try and do is get this unit back into this hole. The only one I need out is the one here for the hazard panel. Right, so well, I think it's probably best if you leave me and George to tidy this up. I think we've got quite a bit of room. We've got to get it back to about there. So let's tidy it up a bit. Right, now we need to get this in. Now, obviously, the wire's going to pass through this little hole here. But obviously, we can't get the whole thing through there. So we've got to disconnect this little connector on here. Now, notice it's got a black wire in there. The black wire's to the outside. The black wire's closest to this edge here. So George just did this, but you got to gently give it a bit of a wriggle. And there's no clip on it, but it does just pull out like that. So well done, George. I was like, oh. Right. So now, right, we've got 2 wires now to connect. So we've got this one here, which we've got to pass through here. And we've got this one to go on the back of the hazard panel. So let's just have a look which side that wire goes on. George, did I get the right wire? Power, that goes in like that. And the connector is on that side, yeah. So that one there needs to pass through there, okay, and then this hazard one here needs to go on the back of this hazard panel Oh, my arm's in the way. Alright, where's that? That's it. Click, right. So now we should have all the connections we need. So we should, oh, I've set the hazards going. There we go. Right, what have I got? Right, I've got a microphone wire coming out here. You can go out the top for now. Again, I haven't routed all these cables very nicely. I think we may have to leave some of that to you guys to work out. We've just got everything coming out the top, which may not be how you decide to route it. Make sure you got no wires crossing where these ducts go, like I think I've got there. I need to get that around that duct. I think it'd be better if I went. There we go. Alright, let's have a look now, and we. Mind that gear thing at the bottom. Alright. Let's get in there slowly. Right, let me just fiddle with this a bit. Right, we got that all wriggled into place. So remember, when you put this one back on, the black wire goes towards the outside edge. Bit of a tricky one to get in, because you can't really push on it. Let me just get a little. I don't want to push at the edge too much in case it goes on. I think that might be on, don't you, George? What do you reckon? Not. Oh, there you go. Yeah, happy with that. Right, and then that should. I haven't tried this yet. That should. So let's just have a look what the fixings are. It's flush at the bottom. It's got these two little clips at the back, which hopefully are going to attach to something as we slide it back into position. Or not. Why there's fighting it a bit. Yeah, I'm not sure they actually cap. Right, I have got that in. Yeah, that actually does clip in. Goodness me, you're not going to get that out. Yeah, it was that cable at the back was kinked, so that actually fits in pretty good. Right, now I think we've got enough now before we get carried away to power up the system and see what's happening. Right, so let's have a look. So in theory, we should be able to turn it on without the key. We should just be able to press that to wake it up. Let's have a look. This should come on. And then it'll take a minute and we should be able to get... There we go. So that's the Android system. So I think I'm going to finish the video there. We haven't got all the cables routed. But you can see there, we'll have a little play with it and get everything working. But you can see there, we can join Wi-Fi networks and all sorts of stuff. So what you've got to do to select the sound from this device, you have to press this, obviously not CD, press it again and it goes to audio input. So you can still get all the audio stuff from there, but when you go on auxiliary here, you then connect to all the sound